And welcome to another edition of the Bullheaded Podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and Peebush. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Got to witness the Hoosiers take down the number one Boilermakers. Zoo's March Madness pick for the year so
Nah,
far. Gotta love seeing it, man. Big win for the Hoosiers, and they're playing again tonight against Rutgers. Need another win, man. Keep it rolling.
wow. Shout out to the Hoosiers, man, for getting it done. I did not participate in watching them because I was watching the Chicago Bulls, man, with a big dub over the San Antonio Spurs.
Oh, my God. What a worse game to watch, man.
Big dub.
I'm telling you, man, my Bulls been showing up the last couple of games, man.
Yeah, they're not trying to get traded at the deadline, man. That's why.
Yeah, there'll be a regression for a lot of teams. There'll be a regression to the mean once the trade deadline's over.
All I gotta say this is one game below 500 with all the terrible games that the Bulls have played and all the leads they have blown. They're only one game below 500. That's all I gotta say, man. This is peak. This is the bottom right now. We haven't seen the hill yet. We haven't seen the peak yet, man.
Don't tell me you're thinking Celtics from last year, man, because that ain't happening.
All I gotta say is that 6 seed, man.
The Celtics.
All I gotta say, we beat the Celtics. All I gotta say, that 6 seed, that's possible.
Yeah,
it's possible, man. That's all I gotta say, man. Because Hawks, Knicks, Heat, stop it. All mediocre teams. All mediocre.
I think we might have a hard time stopping the Sixers if we had to play them in the first round, though.
Okay, that would be a disaster.
That's a wait. What is it? Broom? It's not sweep. That's a big ass broom.
Yeah, like Joel Embiid will be averaging 38 and 15.
Yeah,
Embiid
would be the problem.
Absolutely.
And by then, Harden would definitely be in shape, so he'll be in playoff shape by then. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think a lot of people want to see the Sixers in the first round, but we'll definitely be saving our NBA takes for later in the pod. As you guys know, there was a lot of trades that went down, but I don't know if anybody forgot, but it is Super Bowl week. I know we were talking about it before the pod. NBA has kind of dominated a lot of the chatter and online conversations, but we have two prettily even matched teams, and I want to get the guys' thoughts on more so maybe what are some of the storylines with the quarterbacks, defensive lines, offensive lines, things of that nature. So people should actually want to start with you on this one.
It's tough, man, because Zoo can't bet against Mahomes, man. In the playoffs, it's tough. He's lost some, he's lost in the Super Bowl before. We've seen it happen. It's not out of the question, right, that it's going to happen. And I think that, he does have 2 weeks of extra recovery time coming off that high ankle sprain. He looked hobbled when they played against the Bengals, still had an unbelievable game besides the one fumble that he had on that snap, which was just a mental error there. But man, this Eagles defensive line that has just been causing havoc the entire year. Their entire game plan is just going to be to pressure him, force him out of the pocket, make him throw on the run. And I know we were also kind of worried about the wide receiver room in Kansas City. Kadarius Toney, is he going to be okay? Juju Smith-Schuster. It looks like they're both probably going to end up playing, unless y'all have heard something different. But I think Toney is expected to play. And obviously they got Kelsey. I think their only loss is really Mecole Hardman. So I just don't know how they're going to be able to get plays down the field against this, quick defensive line pressure and an unbelievable secondary in Philadelphia. So, it's going to have to be a lot of short game, quick throws to Kelsey, quick throws out to Kadarius Toney, hope that they can just make some plays, man. So I think that's the storyline I'm really looking at is, can this Chiefs O-line do something to stop them? Are they going to maybe pull McKinnon or Pacheco back for blocking purposes? Not really two of the biggest guys in the world to be helping out Mahomes, but they might need everything that they can get when it comes to protecting their franchise quarterback. So that's what I'm looking out for in this game.
Yeah, man. Like, I'm the biggest Mahomes fan ever. Second year, man, I've been a true believer in this guy's greatness. But in the Super Bowl, man, I have to say this, man. This guy's a big playoff performer. 300 yards per game, 2 to 3 touchdowns a game. His averages are real good in the playoffs. But in the Super Bowl, it's a small sample size, but 2 games, man. I haven't been impressed. I have not been impressed in the Super Bowl, man. Obviously, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that was one of the worst Super Bowl games I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I got to give it to him that his offensive line was atrocious. That Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they had no time to throw. Like, his offensive line was beaten down by injuries, but he had 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, man. Like, come on. 2 picks, man. He can't be throwing picks in the Super Bowl. And that first Super Bowl, too, against the 49ers, man. They were dominating that game. I remember watching that game, that first 3 quarters. Niners, man. They looked like the better team. Jimmy G missed, obviously, a big throw that could have got a touchdown, but he just overthrew it. So Jimmy G, if Jimmy G was a little more accurate, get that deep ball, gets a touchdown, maybe he goes 0 for 2 in the Super Bowl. So I'm keeping those things in mind. In that game, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So he got 4 interceptions in 2 Super Bowl games. So I'm keeping that in mind right now. And this Eagles defense, it's real nice, man. It's real nice, man. The secondary, man, pass rush to get to the core. Like, we're going to see this offensive line versus this defensive line to see who's going to win that matchup right there. That's going to make or break it because Mahomes still recovering from the injury. Hopefully he looks a little more healthier this game compared to the previous game against the Bengals because that's what I call a miracle game, man. That was a miracle game. He was playing on one leg, and he still was better than Joe Burrows that game. He was on one leg. He was better than Joe Burrows that game. So do I believe in miracles, man? I bet it. I bet against him last weekend, man, when against the Burrow man. Nope. Stupid. Noob move, man. When you see greatness, you don't bet against him, man, even with an injury, man. So I can't bet against my boy Mahomes because that was just blasphemous. That put my money on the Bengals, man. That's just some silliness. So I'm going with Mahomes.
Really?
Yeah, they're the dogs, man. So I'm getting plus money, man. Plus
that's
money
true.
on a game that's I give it 50-50 odds right now. So if you give me plus 105 probability, let's go, man. Let's go. Chiefs all day, man. Chiefs all day. Extra week with the Pro Bowl week, a little extra recovery time for my boy Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. Hopefully get a little more healthier. Jalen Hurts is also he's still recovering from injury too. Yeah. He has not been full form like MVP Jalen Hurts mode in the regular season. So he's also recovering from an injury. So, and they have not played an offense as good as the Chiefs.
No.
So this will be their biggest test. Yeah, like in the playoff, man, like you beat the Giants, like okay. You beat you beat some cute stores, man. You beat a team without a quarterback. Like, you're like, good job. Like, not their fault. You can only play the teams in front of you, but their defense is like they feeling real good about themselves. But it's pretty easy to play defense with the other team cannot throw the football. So, like, legitimately, they could not throw the football. So,
and they're gonna have to run the ball. And I think Chris Jones on the Kansas City defensive line, man, he's gonna have a hell of a game to really keep that rushing attack. He's the anchor. He's the heart. He's been there forever. And they, I think similarly, I know that a lot of teams try and keep Hurts in the pocket, because of his rushing ability. But I think if you can kind of force him to at least, maybe have a spy linebacker, if Chris Jones can get to the quarterback, force him to make some tough throws. And you got to stop the rush attack just enough to make him throw the ball, because that's really the only way that Kansas City's gonna make this a game on the defensive side for their end. Is they got to force a turnover, maybe 2. And I think against this Eagles O-line, which is easily the best in the league, they have 3 Pro Bowlers on there. They need to get pressure, and it's going to be Jason Kelce, man, versus Chris Jones. That's another matchup I'm looking forward to, man, because that's also going to be a key to this game.
Man.
Yeah,
I got the Eagles.
You got the Eagles?
I got the Eagles, man. They're just too complete. They're way too complete, and they're just healthier. And their 3-headed running back room, man. I mean, Miles Sanders is clearly the lead. He's obviously the best one. But Gainwell can force a lot of issues, especially in the passing game. And Boston Scott's kind of their goal line dude. So, and then you just got Hurts. I mean, if he's running the ball at all like he has been all year, it's over, man. 34-24 Eagles, man.
34-20. Wow, that's a big win. Man, that's a big win.
Yeah,
I only got this in a field goal game, 27-24. So I got this real close, man. Real close.
I don't know. I kind of think the Eagles, one of their trademarks that I guess you could say throughout the season that wasn't maybe discussed as much was the running game. Miles Sanders had a huge bounce back year. And I kind of feel like most people will attribute Hurts, like his type of game, like, what he does. He's a running quarterback, but his improvement as a passer, I think, kept defenses honest. So, like you said, throughout the playoffs, they haven't been tested to a point where it's like, oh, we're going to need Jalen Hurts to give us a 350-yard game or a 250-yard game. He just knows how to manage the offense and not turn the ball over. And what I think one of the Eagles' key components on offense is just the threats of having A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Like having those 2 weapons on the outside, I definitely think keeps defenses honest. And also Nick Sirianni being able to be aggressive. Like, I know that I think it was the catch Devontae made on that 4th down play. I think him like kind of, looking like he didn't make the right catch. Yeah, I guess you could say a bobble catch, but I think him doing that or just going for it on that play, it made it seem like, okay, this is a coach that's aggressive. He's going to do what he needs to do to, keep his offense on the field. And it also shows like, hey, I have a lot of trust in Jalen Hurts. So for me, I think that combined with just both lines of scrimmage, because while Chris Jones is a massive force for the Chiefs, we all know the Cincinnati offensive line. I think we got kind of lulled to sleep because when they played against Buffalo, they looked like this elite offensive line, but there was a lot of different factors. I don't think Buffalo has the greatest defensive line, especially with Von Miller being out. So like it kind of made us feel like, oh, Cincinnati's offensive line is so good. But then when we watched them against the Chiefs and Chris Jones,
5 sacks,
they just tore them apart. So it kind of made me feel like, okay, maybe this is kind of what Cincinnati's offensive line was. And with the Chiefs, nobody really ever confuses them as having an elite defense. They have elite players, like 1 or 2 players that are elite. But in terms of just a full defense versus like the Eagles, who like have Josh Sweat, who's a menace, freaking Hassan Reddick's a menace. You got Darius Slay, like what's it, Chauncey Gardner. I can't remember his full name, but that guy is another guy in the backfield, like, or in the defensive backfield. They got weapons from everywhere, like on both sides of the ball. They're one of the more deeper teams, which means Jalen doesn't have to really play to maximum strength. Like he doesn't have to be a guy like Mahomes who has to pretty much carry the entire offense and sometimes keep the defense, at bay. That is kind of how it's set up for the Eagles. And I think I was reading a stat. They're like had 70 sacks on the year. Like that's I think they're 2 away from the record.
Yep.
That's just different level of talent. And I've been on this Jalen Hurts bandwagon since last year. Like, I've always said, like, a lot of people were saying he couldn't throw the ball. Okay, well, who can throw the ball who don't have receivers? Like, you need guys to throw the ball to. Like, you see how Josh Allen improved when he got a receiver. You see how Joe Burrow's doing with 2 number 1 receivers. Like, show me the guy who doesn't have a legit number 1 option who's good. Nobody. Lamar may be the closest one to not. Yeah, and even during Deshaun Watson's heyday, he had DeAndre Hopkins. So it's like he had a guy. Like Deshaun Watson had that one outlier year where he didn't have Deshaun Watson. But for the most part, guys who are the elite in the game, they have weapons. So to me, once he got those weapons and with his improvement, you see what's happened. And also, too, with Jalen, I think this being the last game, and, I think he might not be throwing the ball as much as because of his shoulder. Maybe he's just trying to protect it. He has ran the ball a little bit, but I think because it's Super Bowl, he's going to go all out. So if it's 4th and 2s and goal line, he's going to be lowering the shoulder. He's going to be trying to get all the yards he can get. And he's going to be, I think, making more sound decisions. So I don't have the Eagles. I don't have a score, but I at least have the Eagles by 10. I don't have it being a 3-point game, and I don't have it being like a 2-touchdown game. I think it's in that range. Like, I think the Eagles, especially if they come out and they start running the ball and keeping Mahomes off the field, that's going to make it even worse.
I was just going to say that time of possession is going to be how the Eagles are trying to approach this game, right? They're just going to try and keep Mahomes off the field. And to that point, I think Mahomes, they need to get the short passing game going so that they can just keep the clock running and just kind of match the time of possession that the Eagles are going to try and dominate. So we all know Pacheco he runs harder than I think any running back I've seen. He looks like such a tryhard.
You know what he's running for? He's running for his career, man.
Yeah,
he's no guarantee the dude's a late round pick.
And he's had a pretty solid season for them, especially towards the latter half of the year. But man, I think we all agree they need to get McKinnon going because that guy single-handedly with Kelsey was carrying that.
He's a good dink and dunk guy, a good pass catching running back.
And you just got to keep the clock moving so that, to your point, Sean, if the Eagles are trying to take 8-9 minute drives to score every touchdown, you better be matching them with similar, or else they're just going to continue and own the clock the entire game, and that's not going to turn out well for the Chiefs. So
and the Eagles are super confident.
They're very.
I think they're super confident. Like, I know they hadn't played anybody, but just even in that 49ers game when they came out in that first drive, like going for it early in the game like that and just went down and scored, they just feel like they got a lot of confidence. But, it's going to be the only part for the Eagles I would be worried about is, say, I don't know, Mahomes get the ball first. He goes down and scores, and then they have a 3-and-out. Then I would want to see how the Eagles respond because I don't think I've seen them in that position at all.
No adversity.
If it doesn't get to that point, like it doesn't get to that point.
That's true.
I don't know. we'll see. We'll
no
definitely
adversity,
see.
man. We'll see how they bounce back because, like, with Jalen Hurts this year, with him playing, lost one game.
Mm-hmm.
That weird Washington week where they lost to them. But other than that, they were rolling. They lost one game with Jalen Hurts in the lineup. Mm-hmm. So they've been absolutely killing the league right now. Sort of reminds me of that Cam Newton Panthers year. That's what it reminds me of. Both guys coming out, man. Like, it reminds me a lot of that team. They were just killing every team. But let's see, with a little adversity, man. Maybe you're down 2 touchdowns. See how you bounce back because they've been straight killing every team they've been playing against this year. So, Mahomes is the guy to get it done, man.
I can't hate on the Mahomes pick, to be honest. I mean, it's a 1.5 point spread right now. Pretty much a pick 'em for a neutral site.
And they have the experience.
And Zoo knows, man. You just can't bet against Mahomes half the time.
Especially with the good O-line, man. Especially with the good O-line. Just give my boy some time to throw, man. I don't care who he's throwing it to. Just give him some time to throw, and I need to see subject, man. And hopefully that ankle a little better, too, because I need some running, Mahomes, too.
And I kind of hope Kelsey, if they do win the game, I hope Kelsey's the one to get the Super Bowl MVP and just have an absolute.
Which Kelsey, man? Which Kelsey?
He ain't going to give it to a center, man. Come on.
You never know.
He scored like 2 touchdowns or something.
He's got 5 pancake blocks on Chris Jones or something, man.
You never know.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns, 2-point conversions. Yeah, that would be the day. I think a sneaky MVP though would be AJ Brown, the Eagles. I think he would be a sneaky one.
AJ Brown.
I think he'd be a sneaky one. I don't know what his odds are, but I think he would be a sneaky one.
Prop bets on Super Bowl MVP, Zoo. Who you got? I know it's got to be one of the 2 quarterbacks.
Stop it, man. It's Mahomes, man. If the Kansas City Chiefs win, it's going to be Mahomes because he's just that dude, man. He's just going to be the reason they win. Like, I love Travis Kelce. I don't care if he gets 150 yards. It could be Mahomes because he'll be hitting 300-plus yards of passing.
Cooper Kupp, man. He did it last year.
There's a difference between Mahomes and Matt Stafford, man. He got exposed this year. He a little banged up, but he got exposed. So we ain't counting those 2 guys.
It almost feels like Matt Stafford was a 1-year wonder with the Rams. That almost feels like that whole Super Bowl run.
Yeah, you got that one ring, man. Mission accomplished, man. You got nothing else to prove, man. Nothing else to prove.
Facts. Yeah, that seems like that was a whole. That team's going to look entirely different come next year, which is going to be interesting to see. But like I said, Super Bowls this week. I know the NBA has dominated a lot of the headlines, but I think it's going to be a great game, great atmosphere in Arizona, so it's going to be pretty cool. But speaking of the NBA, we get bombshells every year. We kind of do what Kyrie, especially hearing the comments when he was talking about, hey, I think it was during the summer or whatever, he's talking about want to get a contract extension. They're like, let's just play this year out. We all thought, like, okay, they're going to maybe figure something out to where it might be something with his contract that's incentive-laden contract, something that has stipulations. But we didn't know it was going to cultivate to a situation where he actually gets traded. And lo and behold, he gets traded to the Dallas Mavericks. And most people have seen the compensation that the Mavericks got and that the Nets got. But it gave a lot of people running to Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever social media, and just giving out their theories of what they think the season is going to be now for the Dallas Mavericks and the Brooklyn Nets. So for the most part, we're going to talk about the Dallas Mavericks because they are the one that got the star. And I wanted to ask the guys, what do you think about the trade? I guess the compensation. What do you think about going forward for either team? And Azu, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, man. This is why I love the NBA, man. This is why I love the NBA, man. And
Thanks.
Kyrie Irving, another superstar moving teams again, man. This is what I like to see because this is the first domino. Like, this Kyrie Irving move, we can talk about this a little later, man. Kevin Durant's future is in question, the future. Well, let's take it with the first domino, Kyrie Irving right now. Luka Doncic, get some help, man, on the offensive end. They're saying, fuck defense, we're going all offense right now. Because legit, their starting lineup's going to be 4 wings, like 4 wing guys. If they keep Hardaway Jr. and maybe put in Josh Green in there. Like, they got 4 perimeter dudes and maybe have like a Powell or Christian Wood in there. So that's going to be their lineup. They're going to be playing no defense. Luka Doncic is probably the best offensive player in the game right now based on scoring and assists in the basketball. Kyrie Irving is one of the best isolation basketball scorers and shooters in the game right now.
Of all time.
Yeah. So you're combining 2 guys based on NBA skill set, basketball skill set, and talent. These guys are up there. Like, these guys get A's and A pluses based on basketball skill set. And giving Luka Doncic a sidekick, because he got a Robin now. Like I don't know. Kyrie Irving somehow finds his way to play with the best basketball players of all time, from LeBron
For real,
to KD to Luka. Like that is absurd, man. Those might be 3 of the top 10 basketball players of all time at the end of their careers, man. Legit, Kyrie Irving, he's seen it all. So you go from KD to Luka Doncic, who's a point guard out there, man, and I want to see how they play each other because Luka Doncic, man, this guy. His usage percentage over 40%.
Yeah.
The dude has the ball in his hands all the time. We're going to see how he's able to play off ball with little Kyrie Irving, maybe a little rest on offensive end so he can play a little longer in games and dominate the fourth quarter a little more because, man, he's been gassing up because the dude's been putting 50 pieces just to keep his team on a track to be a 500 ball club.
Yeah.
Like, he needs 50 and 60-point games to be average. You give him Kyrie Irving, who's having another career year, 27 a game, like 5 and 5, all-star starter. You got 2 all-star starters in your starting lineup. You put some role players in there, you're going to win at least 50 plus. You're going to be a 50-win like pace team with Kyrie Irving on that roster. Even though defensively, J. Kidd, do your job.
Yeah,
get these guys to play some defense.
Yeah, you got to get some guys to guard.
Because offense is going to be easy, man. They're going to be dropping 120, 130. I don't know how many points they're going to give up, but they're going to be dropping 120 and 130 with this lineup because. My goodness, man. Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, man. You guys got guys that could average 60 together. 60 total points with Luka averaging like 33, Kyrie like 27. Like, it'd be averaging 60 points from 2 dudes,
they'll rival Tatum Brown.
Oh, absolutely, right, man. Easy. Absolutely. Like, I like the Mavs going all in. Mark Cuban felt the burden. Like, every time I saw this, someone made a sign of Luka Doncic needs some help, man. Made a little painting outside, man. Mark Cuban felt some type of way about that. Told the artist to put it down because he feels the pressure, man. Never surrounded Dirk Nowitzki, man, with the star. Got an old Jason Kidd, Tyson Chandler beat the Heatles, man. Like, shout out to Dirk winning a bunch of role players and like nice little starter players, man. There's some cute players, man. But you got this guy a real sidekick now. No, we got him a real Robin. No Alfreds, man. We got a Robin for Batman right now to get it done. So we're going to see if Luka could cook this year. But that defense is going to be atrocious. Finney Smith, man, DFS, man. 3-and-D guy, no longer there. He was he's the definition of a perfect role player, man.
He is.
Catch and shoot three-point shooter, man. Yeah. Catch and shoot. Oh, yeah. Catch and shoot three-point shooter, man. Could guard the best players, can guard the LeBrons and KDs of the world. Like, he's a true 3-and-D type of dude. And I really like the Brooklyn Nets, and they were just sick of Kyrie, so like let's get some role players to surround Kevin Durant because they're trying to improve their defense over there. Finney Smith, man, good player. Spencer Dinwiddie, whatever, man. Like the dude's a bench dude.
He's kind of
I like Spencer Dinwiddie. You can find a Spencer Dinwiddie in free agency any day of the week. Like
he can be a microwave.
Yeah, like you can find a Spencer
he was a good
Dinwiddie
player,
wherever. But like he's like a nice bench guy.
He's back home.
Points. Like
back home in Brooklyn.
Yeah, back home in Brooklyn, man, where he started.
Maybe he'll get revitalized.
Yeah, like Dinwiddie's whatever. You go from Dinwiddie to Kyrie Irving, man, and they had to make this move, man.
Oh yeah,
Jalen Brunson. That's why.
Yep.
Mark Cuban's trying to make the fans forget about how they did not want to offer Jalen Brunson $55 million, an all-star caliber player this year. So this is what they're gonna do. They're gonna get Kyrie Irving and be like, yeah, this guy's way better than Jalen Brunson.
Yeah. And more box office, too, obviously.
Oh, yeah, more box office, obviously. This guy's a superstar. I like the move. There's risk to it because he could leave. And Kyrie, what Kyrie loves to do is leave a team, man. So that's a massive risk. But first round pick 2029, whatever. Because Luka Doncic might be gone before that. And then you got a second round pick, whatever. You got to do what you got to do for a superstar, try to win now. So I applaud the move. There's risk to it. I even like what the Nets got to for Kyrie Irving if he was not going to stay. Yeah. So they got a draft pick in the future. Maybe they could flip that for a guy to help out KD. Got a defensive 3-and-D guy. Spencer Dinwiddie's a nice little bench player. So got some nice role players in for KD. But good luck to KD, man, because it's your show.
And who knows?
It's official.
I don't know, Zoo. It's Cam Thomas's show now, man. He's putting up 40 pieces all night. And, man, he's not smiling because there's nothing to laugh about. So, I mean, it's just, I agree, Zoo. I mean, I think that I'll take a little different side. I think I'll take the potential negatives, right? I think a lot of people, they don't have a bench. They have 0 bench. Maxi Kleber, are you serious?
Injury.
I know, and he's injured, right? I mean, I think that the big aspect is, I know Christian Wood hasn't really lived up to expectations down there in Dallas. they were still able to keep him, right? I think they needed to be able to keep him and still pull off this trade. Finney-Smith was a big loss. I think Dinwiddie's a bigger loss than you are comparing. But at the same time, you're getting Kyrie back, so it doesn't matter. Man. Doesn't matter. I think that's a good addition for the Nets. Just a little cook, a guy that can cook right off the bench. He can just give you a nice little 15 pretty quickly. So, but yeah, man, I think the biggest downside is obviously, what if he just leaves and goes to the Lakers, man? The Lakers may have made the best decision by not trading for him at this deadline, man, because Facts. They know they might get him in the summer. And so they don't even have to do anything except pay the man eventually down the line, right? So, I mean, that's a risk that the Mavs are taking. They have to – I know he's got all of his antics, right? Kyrie's had a lot of stuff go on off the court, personal, but he's one of the best, like you said, Zoo, one of the best ISO players. I think he's the best creator of his own shot in the game. I still think he is. Mm-hmm. The antics, though, man, they better do everything they can to make that man happy in Dallas. Because maybe he'll resign.
No, they don't have to do anything. Do you know what they have to do? Kyrie Irving wants to get paid.
Yeah.
He wants the 4-year max extension.
Yep.
For $40+ million. So he's got to behave. Because if he doesn't behave, nobody giving him a 4-year max deal. You might be able to you'll definitely get a 1-year deal. Yeah, teams would give him probably a 2-year deal too. That's probably ideal for most teams right now. But a 4-year max deal, you better ball your ass out for the Dallas Mavericks, be effective in the playoffs, and lead the Dallas Mavericks to a long playoff run. And then you'll definitely get paid after that. But Kyrie has money on the mind right now.
He does. You're right. And he does. And he lost his Nike deal, right? We all know that too, right? So he needs that revenue stream. I'm sure he'll find, other ways to get it. But I think the other thing that I would bring up is just both of their usage, man. They're both ball dominant players. They need the ball in their hand to really make an impact on the game. I know Luka can pass and assist and, but I just feel like there's a lot of isolation basketball coming down there in Dallas with this trade. You can't go wrong with that. I mean, we've seen it happen with the Celtics, but for the Celtics to really hit their peak was when Tatum decided to really become a facilitator as well as a scorer, right? So I know that's going to kind of be Luka's role. That's what I'm guessing. I think that they'd actually run Kyrie at the combo 2-guard role and let Luka still be the primary ball handler, be the off guard for Kyrie. So yeah, I mean, that's what I'm looking out for. I just think at the end of the day, do you think Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic are both going to be able to play 40, 42 minutes a game? Because their bench is just so depleted that they have no help compared to a team like the Nuggets or the Grizzlies, right? We're looking at teams in the West, and then, obviously potentially if they made the finals in the East, right? The Celtics, the Bucks, they're all pretty deep teams, and they could just end up getting tired out. So that's the only concern I'm looking at on the Mavs side. I do agree with you. I think the Nets are kind of poising themselves to maybe have a little bit of a rebuild here. Maybe they'll trade for like a Fred VanVleet or something to give. Hey, who knows, man? But they're going to have to do something if they want to stay in contention. But I just think that both of these teams are kind of seeing, okay, this year's pretty wide open just across the league in general.
Absolutely, yeah.
So why not just take a splash and obviously for the Nets kind of get a problem off of their hands and a potential massive bag that they now don't have to pay. So it's tough.
Man. Yeah, I think Kyrie is definitely going to be on his best behavior because he wants to get that full max. I just wonder, with the Nets, how they kind of had this contract set up to where it was a lot of incentive stuff, like goals that need to be met. And from his camp, it was kind of stuff that's not standard practice with these max contracts. So I wonder,
disrespectful.
Yeah, he called it super disrespectful. So I was wondering, maybe even if he does ball out with the Mavericks and they do whatever they do and they get to the playoffs and make a decent run, are the Mavericks not just going to do the same thing that the Nets did? Like, because I don't know where Kyrie's camp or himself are setting themselves up to be with a team that's going to give him a standard max contract without those stipulations. Now, maybe if Luka comes into play and is like, look, after this year, and he liked how Kyrie played, and he basically made it known to Mark Cuban, like, look, I'm going to need you to keep Kyrie around, then he'll probably get the contract that he wants. But it's going to be interesting to see how that contract plays out. Because when you look at it on the surface, when you think about just like what the Mavericks gave up, I didn't think they gave up anything. They gave up Dinwiddie, who he was at one point a really, really good player, and then when he got to Dallas, he kind of tailed off, which he may be able to get it back in Brooklyn, but we'll see. Dorian Finney-Smith, great 3-point shooter. He's an average 3-and-D guy to me. He's a nice he's a nice fit within the cog of a team, but he's not a star player. And then you give up a 2029 pick. Like when you think about the person you're getting back in Kyrie Irving, like that's a hell of a freaking like haul for the Dallas Mavericks. It's just
that it could be 4 months. That's the issue.
It could be. And to me, right? I'm not even mad at that because say it doesn't work out and Kyrie leaves after 4 months. Okay, you lose Kyrie, those guys you were going to get rid of anyways, and you get all that money. Now, Dallas does have trouble getting free agents, but if we're being honest in NBA, who really gets free agents? Except for the Lakers and maybe whoever the hot team is. Like, nobody gets free agents. You got to draft. Like, nobody has people, like, star players either go to the biggest franchises, which doesn't always happen, or they go to the hot team in NBA right now. Like, nobody really is signing free agents. I mean, they are, but not, like, the biggest stars. They usually get traded. So to me, it's like, okay, even if he does leave, you got a bunch of cap space. You can reset the floor. You can tell Luka, look, at least we're trying. That was my whole thing with this trade. They're showing a concerted effort of, we want to win. We want you here. So we're going to go get big name players because we know that's how championships are won, with big name players. As much as people want to talk about depth, for the most part, stars run the league. So if you got stars combined, you just figure out the rest of it. And I think that's just what Mark Cuban's trying to show Luka. He probably learned from Dirk. Like, you know, I know Dirk got us a championship, but those other years, like, we wasn't really, you know, it wasn't really the best situation, especially surrounded around Dirk. So, yeah, getting Luka a star, that shows Luka, like, look, we're at least committed. So now in the back of Luka's head, he's like, well, I mean, they are trying. And, you know, it's just like, it's leverage. It's like, okay, now you see what we're doing. And down the road, if you're thinking about leaving in free agency, remember, hey, we're committed to you. We got Kyrie. Years down, I don't know, whoever the next star is, we may trade to get him or whatever. You're just showing a concerted effort. Because so many times I think you get these superstars that are like super young, like Luka. People just think they have all the time in the world. It's like, oh, well, they're still on a rookie deal, or they just signed their 5-year max extension, whatever. Like, we got time. And it's like, no, because we know in the NBA, when young stars, middle-aged stars, old stars, when they get pissed and they have leverage, they will get traded or they will leave. That's how it goes. Anthony Davis is the perfect example. I bet New Orleans thought they had all the time in the world. Oh, AD is loyal. But no,
they got him Boogie.
Like, yeah, Boogie. Like, we got all this stuff. Like, and even guess what? Even if that, like, he probably did want Boogie because, you know, that's Kentucky alumni, whatever.
Yeah.
And it still didn't matter because he left. But you got to do something. You can't just be like, I'm not listening to the star. Like, no. Dallas wasn't going anywhere. They were kind of stuck in the mud. And with this, especially with how the West is constructed right now, it gives you the chance to make a run in the playoffs because we don't know what's going on in the West in terms of like the tiers. Like, there's injuries, there's teams that's in the 12th spot that if they go on a 4-game win streak could be in the 5th spot. Like, it's just so much going on in the West. So to me, getting Kyrie at least gives you a chance to see, okay, this could maybe work or may not work. So I like it. And like you see, you didn't give up anything. The only team that was going to have to give up a lot, like you said, people, was the Lakers. And it's because nobody wanted to trade to the Lakers. They were going to make you give up Russell, all the two first round. They were going to make you do all that because he had already said too he wanted to be at the Lakers. Yeah, you're not going to do, like, it's going to be hardball with the Lakers. But unlike like I think Phoenix was another team, and I think it was a thing about Chris Paul and all that stuff. Like, that was maybe a situation that they was thinking about making a trade for. But for the most part, Dallas, I guess, had the best package that they thought. And like you say, it gives Kyrie a chance to prove himself and be on his best behavior. So I love it. Like, I like when teams that have superstars go for trades. I love that. Shows you're committed.
Yeah, man. Dallas Mavericks, man. They don't want to do another Euro wrong, man. They let Steve Nash go for Dirk Nowitzki, man. They had their two stars pairing, man. Let Steve Nash go. They made a lot of mistakes. And obviously in free agency, Dallas has failed multiple times in free agency with the cap space strategy. So they try to do the trading strategy. They thought Porzingis was the sidekick, got injured. Him and Luka didn't really get along the court. Now they're trying to get with Kyrie Irving. So I applaud the effort because that Dallas Mavericks team that made it to the conference finals, that is not a conference finals team. That was a miracle. That was a miracle. Yeah. I still don't know how they beat the Phoenix Suns. I still don't know how they beat the Phoenix Suns. It was Luka Doncic playing like a god of basketball. Yeah. Like, that's what it took. It took a god to beat them. So they can't have this history repeat of having a guy make the conference finals. Sort of reminds me of the Atlanta Hawks team with Trae Young. That one season they made it to the conference finals. Very, very fluky season. Very, very lucky. Not a true contender, but things went their way. They beat They beat a Sixer team coached by the all-time choker and Doc Rivers and Ben Simmons, who forgot how to shoot. So they got the job done. So applaud to them, but you cannot count on that in the future playoff series. So I like Mark Cuban saying, let's get a deal done, man. Let's get a deal done for the Don, man. Get him KI and Uncle Drew, man. And I can't wait to see this team, man. This team is exciting.
Same.
Another dynamic duo. Like, this league has a lot of just two all-star caliber players on the same team, which I love, spreading out all the stars, man. I can't wait to see the Dallas Mavericks, man. And KD, man, good luck with you, sir. You got a lot of nice role players, man. If you win a championship, that will be an all-timer, man.
Legendary.
That will be what I call exactly. That's what I call a miracle. And I feel like this season is one of the few seasons, depending on your matchups in the first couple rounds, man. It is very, very possible because Boston Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks, I ain't scared of these teams, man. I think they're all in the similar tier level. There's no big dog. Like, people love the Celtics.
I'm not wrong with that.
I ain't buying that.
They're in a different tier, bro.
Oh, no. I'm like Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, man. Stop.
Maybe the 76ers because they have a choker as a head coach, but
I have them in the same tier, man.
Oh man,
I have them in the same tier. The
Celtics,
the Celtics, the Bucks, the Sixers, man. I even put the Cavs in there, man. I put the Cavs in there. So like all these teams, all these teams they're all really they're all good teams, but I don't think they're like all time like incredible teams. So KD, man, if you're that dude, go for it, man. Ride it out one more season or the rest of the season of the Brooklyn Nets, man. If you want to demand a trade again in the offseason, totally understandable because of the situation. Like, you got Harden leaving you, now you got Kyrie Irving leaving you, so you're the last man standing. But if you get it done, take this as an opportunity because you're going to get all your flowers if you win a championship with this roster because they're all role players. Every single one of them. You got Ben Simmons was supposed to be the star. That dude's barely that dude's barely getting off the bench, man. Like he's close to being the 12th guy on an NBA roster now. It is sad to see how bad Ben Simmons is at basketball.
At $32 million a year.
He's averaging like 8, 7, and like 7, man. He's just he's so bad now.
Very so Draymond. Bad. Yeah.
He's a 6'10" Draymond Green. Except
imagine what Philly would be if imagine where Philly would be if Mark Hill didn't have his injury and Ben Simmons didn't have that stupid back or whatever and all that whole stuff. They would be God mode with Embiid running around like oof. It's crazy that both Simmons and Mark Hill both had Mark Hill was really an injury, but with Ben, he said his back. They just both got derailed from like long lingering injuries and then got
I can't put injuries on Ben Simmons though. I can't.
Yeah, because that's why I said like oh my bad. That's why I was like, alleged back and you just can go off his word.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
That was a tough one. This is his back injury right here in the mind, man. It's more mind over man. Like, dude, the dude's mind, man, not mentally tough, man. Can't deal with criticism and try to improve himself. Like the Sixers, man, like they give him all the love, man. Try to improve, support him with him not shooting three. Like they just want him to shoot 1-3 a game. Try to improve the shooting, man. Because like I see Ben Simmons shooting like 40% from the free throw line, and I see this rookie in San Antonio, man, who is bricking everything. Sohan, he goes to shoot with one hand, and now he's shooting 75% from the free throw line.
There you go.
Like that dude, like
improvement.
I suck at shooting. Let's see what I can do. Maybe go one-handed. Like he's shooting one-handed from the it looks ridiculous.
Granted, Zoo,
but it's going in.
He didn't already sign a massive contract, so he's trying to earn the money. Ben Simmons already got it, man. So I mean,
he was able to finagle it. He was. I mean, he probably even shot. He probably shot a little bit more before his extension, his little rookie extension, or whatever. No, he shot the ball a little bit more, but then after that,
Ben Simmons was just dropping 40 and 10 on Rudy Gobert, man. The dude's an animal before he got paid, man. But man, he fell off.
He really needs a reconstruction. Like he needs to go somewhere where it's just not a lot of pub. He needs to get with the shot doctor. He just needs to get in the lab and just have a situation where they got full attention on him. Because even when he came to the Nets, like people were just like, "Oh, guess what? You're going to come in and be the third option. You're going to figure this out. Like, there's no time for you to talk about your back or talk about your shot that needs to be fixed. No, you're just going to come in and do what you do as a third option." And I don't know. I think he still has time. He's younger, but with the Nets, it's all about KD. So we're going to see. Like I said, the trade deadline is Thursday. Go ahead.
And I want to mention this one more thing. Looking back at that trade the Sixers made, They got James Harden from that Ben Simmons trade. Hallelujah, baby.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. Because Ben Simmons,
James was ahead of it
as a trade asset. He is one of the worst trade assets in the NBA right now based on the contract. $35 million a year for the next 2 years after this season, man. That is an untouchable contract. That's something you have to give a pick to take Ben Simmons' contract.
Or another player, yeah.
Exactly. Throwing a pick, throwing a young player to take Ben Simmons off our hands because the Nets right now, very, very, like internal reports, disappointed in Ben Simmons' performance, and who wouldn't be? You got a fresh start. Maybe it was a Philly thing, man, hating on him too much. He's straight garbage, man. Just straight garbage on the court. So
Nets have a lot to work through. That's for sure. Even with this trade, it's going to be an interesting year. I think they're going to lose KD though.
I hope so, man.
Because I don't think they're going to run through.
I hope so. KD to the Bulls is back alive again.
All right.
Oh, it's back alive, baby.
Here goes
Come on, AK,
Jews
man.
Propaganda. Here it comes.
No, ain't no propaganda, man. I'm speaking into existence.
There's always a little.
When Shams Charania is saying sources say Kevin Durant has been traded to the Chicago Bulls in a two-team trade, let's ride, baby. KD to the Bulls.
Keep fantasizing, man. You enjoy
I see it. Shams Charania of The Athletic. Sources say KD to the Bulls. Yes, sir. Like, retweet.
Hey, Woj beat him by. You guys see Woj beat him by 1 minute, man, on the Kyrie breaking. He just beat him.
No, I didn't see it.
I was watching Twitter, man. I looked at both of them. They were 1-2 on my.
I need to turn the notifications on for them. That's right around this time. I should have the notifications
during trade deadline season. This is where things go crazy, man. We haven't seen nothing yet, man. We haven't seen nothing.
Yeah,
coming
up.
Like
I say, it's Tuesday, but Thursday is right around the corner, and we're definitely going to have some trades, I think, still come across the wire with some teams that we didn't think was going to have teams. Because you also got to look at, too, the players that are sitting out for, like, these supposed teams that are, like, end of trade rumors. Yeah, there's a lot of – I think OG is sitting the entire trip with the Raptors. He's sitting that entire road
has
trip.
been on the trade block, trade rumors.
Man. Yeah. That's going to be interesting, too, is how much compensation and where he ends up going. So, like I say, we're not going to have a trade deadline, but it's going to be covered on the Bullheaded_pod page on Instagram. We're definitely going to be putting it on TikTok, YouTube, Quantro knows, just every social media median. We're going to have news on the trade deadline and Super Bowl coverage. So make sure you guys lock into that. Same thing with Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. It's an audio medium, so you guys can listen, at your leisure at any point. And for me, Zoo, and P-Bush, we are out.